Does NoFap actually help erectile dysfunction? Today we're going to talk about it. If this video is helpful for you, like and subscribe, and I also do some one-on-one coaching with men with erectile dysfunction. So there's a link down below on how to get a hold of me. Stick around. So does NoFap work? And the answer is yes and no. And I want to talk about the reasons that NoFap is really wonderful and the reasons that it falls short sometimes. And so the first thing I want to say is porn-induced erectile dysfunction is a thing. It's a thing that is causing tremendous problems. I've seen numbers as high as 1 in 3 men in different studies. Some studies are lower than that. I think that those numbers are probably a little bit inflated, but I've seen comments from Reddit where men as young as 9 are running into this problem. And if you're 9 years old and you're having problems with an erection, like if you've been able to get them and then you're losing them, it's porn-induced erectile dysfunction is a thing. So NoFap it's fantastic. The things that are really nice about it are, one, there is a big problem that happens chemically in your body with dopamine and just how your brain gets wired when you are watching porn. It causes you to completely change how you view like women in real life. It teaches you to be turned on by images instead of physical touch. It's really common for men to lose connection to their body, like not being able to feel their body much, and like that means that while they're masturbating, while they're having sex, their dick is relatively numb, and so they can only really feel it during orgasm. It also trains them a lot of bad patterning about how relationships work and how sex works and how big your dick should be and how many times a girl should come during sex. There's so many reasons why porn causes problems. And so just to be clear, I'm not saying don't ever watch porn. I think that anything in moderation is fine. Not anything, but in this case, porn in moderation is fine. What do I mean by moderation? If you watch porn once a month, it's probably not going to have a negative impact on your life. If you watch porn once a day, it's going to have a tremendous impact on your life. And so when you look at something like NoFap, there's a really strong community. There's a lot of men who have been through, there's the social proof behind it of, I've gone through this and I came out the other side and it worked. And so that's really powerful. If we look at organizations that are helpful at overcoming challenging addictions, Alcoholics Anonymous is another really powerful one. And whether or not you care about alcohol, it doesn't really matter to me. But one thing is that Alcoholics Anonymous has a very long track record of helping men overcome alcoholism. And there are a lot of men who have porn-induced erectile dysfunction, and they go through NoFap, and it works great. And so I think I've laid enough groundwork to let you know that I am on board with NoFap. I don't have bad things to say about NoFap. The reason that NoFap doesn't always work is because people don't ask the important question. They don't ask, why was I addicted to porn in the first place? So the first thing is that most people who have a porn addiction are running into an issue of they don't have a lot of options. So they don't have 10 people that they could go have sex with if they wanted to. And not that you need to be able to do that, but it's a good thing to notice because the men that go through NoFap, typically they are men who deal with porn addiction, or they become addicted to porn because it's their outlet for sexuality. And the reason that that's important is because you need to look at what caused that addiction in the first place. And for men, when they go through NoFap and it doesn't work, if you look at the same reason they got into porn to begin with and what happened to their body while they were watching porn, it explains why they don't overcome it. And the truth is that whether you have porn-induced ED or whether you have ED that has nothing to do with porn, oftentimes the root cause is the same. And that is something I talk about in a lot of my videos. I think most of the information on erectile dysfunction that's out there is really off base. I think most people are missing the point. I think even a lot of men who have been through ED and come out the other side are missing the point. And the major thing that happens to just about everyone I've run into that has erectile dysfunction, every client I've ever had, and definitely me, the men that I've talked to about this that weren't my clients, is that they have anxiety. Their body is physically afraid. And when your body is physically afraid, you go into fight or flight. And it's a very uncomfortable feeling. When you're scared all the time, you have anxiety all the time. One, it prevents you from having erections. Like, that experience on its own is important. And we don't think about how powerful emotions are in this society because it's not something we're taught. As men especially, we're taught to ignore those emotions. And so this ends up with a society where a tremendous amount of people are on antidepressants and stimulants and depressants and relaxants and all these different things because they don't know how to deal with their emotions. And so when you run into a porn addiction, most of the time what's really happening is that you have an uncomfortable feeling in your body that you don't like and you don't know how to deal with it. And so what you look for is any escape that will be really strong. And it'll something that's so pleasurable that you don't have to pay attention to that uncomfortable feeling. And so porn is fantastic for this because, first of all, you don't get rejected. When you watch porn, you get exactly what you want. So there's no risk. It doesn't require any effort. When you have sex, you have to physically move your body, and it requires exercise. And if you're just sitting there and you have your dick out and you're watching porn, you have 10 tabs open, you have a tremendous amount of dopamine happening. You have a very pleasant experience that ends with an orgasm, which is like an extremely pleasurable experience. So what happens is that you use this as an outlet to avoid the uncomfortable feelings that are happening in your body. And when you do that over and over and over again, what starts to happen is you form a habit. And that habit is basically the foundation of your addiction. And so it's really common for men, once they get to the point where they stop porn, or they decide like, oh, I need to stop porn, they can't. And there's a lot of factors around what happens is there's this slow creep where you may look at Facebook and you may see a cute girl on your Facebook, and then like you pull out your Instagram, and on your Instagram you're following like 20 girls who are half naked all the time, and it's like softcore porn. And then the next thing you know, you're in front of the screen with your a sock in your hand. And so this is the foundation of what leads you down this road. But once again, this is not the core issue. Porn addiction is absolutely something that can make your ED much, much worse. But if you have porn addiction, the real underlying cause is there's an anxiety there. There's an uncomfortable emotional feeling that you don't like. You're scared, you're ashamed, you're a combination of different things. And so if you want to overcome this problem, you have to deal with that emotion. There is no amount of pills or supplements or quick solutions that are just going to take care of that problem for you. And so for those of you who go through NoFap and you find relief, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you. I wasn't one of those guys. I went a year without masturbating, almost a year without masturbating, and I still had ED. And the issue for me was that I had to deal with that anxiety. And for me, I'm lucky because I found ways to do it. I spent thousands of hours in meditation. I practiced things that taught me how to feel and use my body. And in the process, it just taught me a lot about the mechanisms of how this works. And so if you're looking to deal with this problem, the first thing to understand is that it's almost certainly mental. If you have, especially if you've had porn addiction and you have ED, there's almost certainly a mental issue. And until you really decide that you're willing to accept that, you're not going to be able to take the next steps. Because if you still worry about, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? Then there isn't really a good answer for that. There's no solution until you've made a decision. And so if you're wondering about NoFap, do it. That's my advice. Is I've never met a guy who overcame erectile dysfunction while he was watching porn regularly. I've met a lot of men who have overcome porn addiction and didn't immediately heal their erectile dysfunction. But I've also met a lot of men who have healed their erectile dysfunction and it came from just quitting porn. If you go through NoFap, you will 100% have more confidence afterwards. You will have more creative outlets. One of the things that masturbation does, especially with porn, is it trains you for instant gratification. So if you're able to go through the process of getting off of porn, you're training yourself for the type of things that you'll need to overcome those emotional, mental problems as well. So I hope that's helpful, and I hope you just keep going, because ED is something that you can overcome. Porn addiction is something you can overcome. You're going to have bad days. You're going to fail sometimes. Just get right back up and keep going. I believe in you, and I know you can do it. And so if that was helpful, leave a comment down below. Let me know what was helpful. I'm making these videos for you, so I need to know what you want. I'm giving you what I think you want. Some of these videos are based on what other people have asked about. And so if you leave questions and it seems like it's going to help a lot of people, I'll be happy to make a video about it. Also, like and subscribe. Help me get this channel to grow. There's a lot of men who need this, and I also want you to be able to know when I make a new video, because I want to help you out too. And I also do some one-on-one coaching with men. This is my main gig, and this is how I earn a living. So I want to help you out. I want to help other people out. And if you want to get a hold of me, there is a website down below to get a hold of me. All right. Have a wonderful day.